each corner of your shapes towards the vanishing point. Once you are done with all of your shapes, make sure you flip your paper over to side B. So side B, you will do everything exactly like you did for side A. The only difference is though, is that you're not gonna be drawing your lines all the way to the vanishing point. Instead, you will stop halfway through, like this. So again, pencil on the corner, rule on your pencil, rule on your vanishing point, draw your line. And you see how I let go of the pressure of my pencil, so my line stops right there. So this corner, same thing. Pencil on the corner, ruler on the corner, rule on your vanishing point. There you go. Same thing with this corner, because obviously, remember, we cannot draw a line through our shape, because this is gonna go through our shape. So pencil on the corner, rule on your vanishing point, and just repeat. And it doesn't matter if the lines are different lengths, all right? So continue, pencil on the corner, rule on your vanishing point. Pencil in the corner, rule on your vanishing point, draw your line. Again, we can't draw from here to here because it will go through our shape. Pencil in the corner, rule on your vanishing point, draw your line. So once you're done with this, let's go ahead and try it with this, okay? Same thing. And don't forget to spread out your fingers so that way your ruler does not move on you. And make sure that your ruler and your pencil touched your ruler so that way you get that perfect straight line, all right? So feel free to rotate your paper. Pencil in the corner, rule on your vanishing point. Pencil in the corner, rule on your vanishing point. Pencil in the corner, rule on your vanishing point. So continue with these shapes over here at that corner, at the top corner right there. Okay, so assuming that you are done with the rectangles, the squares, and the diamonds, let's move forward to the plus sign, right? So just like before, pencil on the corner, rule on your vanishing point. And don't forget, just because you have every single corner, just because you have 10 corners, does not mean that you can draw 10 converging lines. And so typically these lines are what we call parallel lines, but we call them converging just to keep things simple for you guys and not confusing, because eventually your next step is for you to draw parallel lines. So here's our plus sign for that one, and then let's do this one over here. So again, just repeat the pattern. Pencil on the corner, rule on your pencil, rule on your vanishing point. Pencil in the corner, rule on your pencil, rule on your vanishing point. Okay. And remember to draw these lines lightly because you're going to be erasing a lot of them. Okay, so we are now done with our plus sign, and then our next step is going to be moving to the stars and then the circles next. Now that you are done with your plus signs, let's go ahead and move forward to the stars and then the circles. So I'm only going to do one circle and then 2 of the stars here because I want you to finish this and these 2 on your own, okay? So for your stars, it's the same thing. Pencil on the corner, rule on your vanishing point, draw your line. Pencil on the corner, rule on your vanishing point, draw your line. And again, try to pivot your wrist so that way then your line would actually taper or get lighter as you let go of the pressure. So that's our star at that side. And then this is our star right over here. And in a way, if you look at this, it sort of looks like the lines vanishes or disappears as it goes towards your vanishing point. So these stars, and then these 2 should be exactly like these, okay? Next is gonna be our circle. So remember, I start out with my pencil on the vanishing point first because it makes it easier for me to just pivot my ruler. And remember, if you draw your line and if it went through your circle, then you know that you did not place it exactly where it should be. You wanna put it at the farthest arc possible. So here we go. That's our circle. And then here we go. That's our circle. So do the same thing with the circle at the bottom. Okay, our next step will be these 3 shapes with the cutouts, right? So pencil on the corner, rule on your vanishing point, draw your line. And I think that's about it for this shape in the middle. This one over here, pencil on the corner, rule on your pencil, rule on your vanishing point. There you go. This one over here, nope. Nope. So this one also. And then this one, let's see, pencil on the corner, rule on your pencil, rule on your vanishing point. Pencil on the corner, rule on your pencil, nope, nope. So 1 line for each one of our shapes. Okay, so this part is where it's going to get really confusing. So I will be giving you guys 2 rulers. Remember to not bend these rulers because they are expensive and they will break. But the clear rulers will really help you with this next section. I always tell my students, what you're practically going to be doing is retracing the edges of your shape, and you are repeating those lines onto these converging lines. So your goal is to connect your 2 converging lines to each other. Because notice there's an opening right here and there is an opening right here. So if it helps you, put your pencil or make a tick mark over here, because this is the line that we are going to be working with next. All right, so I'm just going to make it red so it stands out for you. Your first ruler, put it over here so it's side by side or is right on top of that line as if you're tracing it. And then your second ruler, what you're going to do is put them together like this, and then just move them apart and make sure that your rulers are equal distance apart. And so this is what it means to have parallel lines. Now, if your ruler happens to be like this, notice your lines are getting closer towards each other right over here, but then they're wider over there. That means your ruler is not parallel. Or if it's going this way, it's also not parallel because your ruler, they're touching each other right there. So make sure, again, that they are side by side like this. And where you draw your parallel line, it does matter. If you want to give your shape more depth, you're going to put it closer towards your vanishing point. So let's say that I want the shape to have more depth. And notice my line right here is not long enough. No big deal. So just connect your line like this. And then if your line isn't long enough, like I have mine here, extend it and connect that. Okay? So this line is parallel to this line. They run side by side. Parallel lines don't ever intersect. Our next line is going to be this one right over here. So again, you're tracing this line over here, but this time with our ruler, right? So where these 2 lines right over here intersect each other, that's where your next line will begin. So again, put your rulers close to each other, spread them out, and then as soon as your second ruler touches where your your first parallel line was, draw your line. So now this is how you draw your shape and making it look 3D, and this time by adding the sides to it. Do the same thing for this shape right over here. So again, if it helps you, rotate your paper, okay? Put a tick mark over here so that way you know this is the line you're working with. First ruler right over here, and again, your goal is to connect 2 of your converging lines together so that way you guys close your gap. Now this time, let's say that I want to have less depth on my shape. So instead of drawing my parallel line closer towards a vanishing point, I am going to put it closer towards the edge of my shape right over here. So 2 rulers together, spread them out, make sure they're equal distance apart. And if this bothers you, just feel free to move it out of the way and then draw your first parallel line. And if this line is too long, like it is here, go ahead, erase it. And then where these 2 lines cross each other, that's where your second parallel line is going to be. So again, make a little tick mark here to help you if you need to. Your first ruler right over here. Your second ruler, put them together, spread them out. And then right over here is where we should draw our next parallel line. And then if this line is too long, go ahead and erase it. Now take a look at these 2 shapes. Notice a difference? This one looks like it's much shorter. This one looks like it's much longer because this parallel line is closer towards your vanishing point. All right, so our next step is going to be this shape, okay? Notice this will be a little bit different because we only have one side to this shape. So again, if it helps you, put a little tick mark right there. Your first ruler, put it right on top of it as if you're going to be tracing it. And if you want to make it look like the shape is being overlapped by this plus sign, what you're going to do is when you draw your parallel line, so again, ruler together, spread them out, you're going to make sure that your parallel line ends right behind the plus sign, or if you want to extend it, you can go ahead and do it that way. So now it will look like the shape is being overlapped by the plus sign. This shape over here is similar to these, to this shape right over here and this. You will have 1, 2 sides, okay? So again, if it helps you, put a line right there. ruler right on top of it as if you're tracing it. And if you want to make it look like the circle is overlapping it, then your parallel line will be right over here next to the circle. But if you wanted to end it right here, you can go ahead and do that too. So I'm just going to end mine right over here. Again, connect your converging lines. So where these two lines connect, that's where our next line will start. And the next line we're drawing is going to be parallel to that side of your your rectangle. So two rulers side by side, spread them out, and then connect your lines. And if they're not long enough, extend them. And if they're too long, erase. Okay? Now this side over here, this shape is going to be a little bit weird. The reason why is because this side is so super thin, just like this one. So I will do this for you, with you, and then this I want you guys to figure out on your own. So first line is going to be for this one, I think, because it is so thin, okay? And first ruler right over here, and you can barely see it. And I'm just going to move it out just a little bit more. So there we go. And if your pencil is kind of dull, you're not going to get much, but that's okay. But this is where the two lines intersect, and so that's where my next line is going to go. And so if it helps you, make a tick mark right there and that side of your your rectangle, rulers together, and then boom, there you go. And then erase your line if you need to. Unlike the squares or the rectangles, your plus signs, notice you have all these lines right here. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 sides, okay? So, ruler over here, ruler next to each other, spread them out, make sure they run side by side. There you go, you're done with that one. And erase your lines if they're too long. Your next line is going to be this one. Notice it's a vertical line. So, ruler up and down, ruler together, spread them out, and where the last parallel line was is where you will be drawing your line. There you go. And then your next line is going to be this one. Notice it's a horizontal line, just like this one. First ruler, right over here. Second ruler, right there. Spread them out, side by side. There you go. And then last but not least, we have this right over here. This line goes vertically, because you stand up vertically, and where those two lines connect, right over here, is where your ruler should be. And then connect them. So that's how you do your plus sign. Go ahead, do the same thing right over there, okay? Next, we're gonna move forward to the stars. So the stars, it's also a little bit tricky, but if you look at these two lines, you will notice that they run the same exact direction. I like to think of them as being the same exact line. And so, notice the ruler touches them both at the same time. So if you want to have the star being a little bit thinner, this is how you would go, okay? So draw your ruler, draw your line like that, and your parallel line will be right over here. Skip over this point, and then this line is right there. So they are exactly the same. Then, where these two lines intersect each other is where your next line is going to go. So notice these two lines are exactly the same. Your first ruler, put it right over here. And then your second ruler, side by side, spread them out. Make sure they run side by side or are parallel. And then go ahead, draw your line that's parallel to this side of your star. And then draw your line that's going to be parallel to that side of your star. And then if they are too long, your converging lines are too long, feel free to erase your lines. And then do the same thing with this star over here. So, make your tick mark, ruler on this side. And if you want to extend your star, you can go ahead and make it look like it's thicker, okay? And even though your line isn't long enough, don't worry. So this one over here, I'm not sure if we're gonna be able to see it, but let's see it, okay? So this line should go right there, yep. Okay, I should be able to see that. And then where these two lines cross each other, right over here, they are the same. Ruler right there. Ruler together, spread them out. Ruler should be side by side. And then draw your line right there. draw your line right here. So if you do your stars correctly, this should look like that, and that should look like that. Go ahead, finish these on your own, and then we're gonna move forward to the circles next. Okay, so we are now gonna move forward to the circles, okay? So assuming that you guys are already done with your stars right over here, next shape is going to be our circles. Now the circles is different, but it's really easy. Notice instead of having straight lines, we now have curved lines, right? Or we have an arc. So basically you're just going to repeat your arc, and this is where you guys will have to freehand it. So right over here, notice this line here is not curvy enough, all right? It's almost a straight line. So you want to make sure that you draw a line that's going to be just as curvy as the line that's right over here that makes up your circle. So now you guys have something that looks like that, okay? And so next is going to be this circle. Again, just connect them. So now you guys have a cylinder. And that's about it for the circles, okay? Now our next step is going to be the inside shapes. The inside shapes, this is how I want you to do it. It's a little bit tricky, so the line over here goes this way, and this is where I ended my line right there, okay? So this line goes that way, parallel line, ruler together, side by side. There you go. Same thing with this. This line goes this way. First ruler right on top of it, like you're going to be tracing it. And then where these two lines intersect, that's where we will begin to draw our parallel line. So now you have a shape that looks like it's got a cutout. This over here, same thing, okay? So this line is going this way. Ruler right there. And if you wanted to have a deeper cutout, extend your line, draw it closer towards the vanishing point. And where these two lines intersect each other, oops, mark right there. And right over here is where you will begin drawing your line. And then there you go.